Hi everyone, my name is Mauricio Vicente and this is my final Presentation Cit 260 Object-Oriented Programming. Now is talking about the difference between static classes variable and non-static classes variable. Static classes variable is defined by keyword staticus before the name of the classes, the name of variable. And the static class variable is so all the static classes variable is a global variable and don't need to create object to be accessed. Well, non-static classes variables is defined without keyword staticus. And the non-static classes variable always is a local variable or a specific instance. We call as instances or local variable. Non-static variable can only be accessed using object and no share instances. And let's look in this code in the city of the Aaron example of the static classes variable, like the private static is final interland base and private static final land page static is random. Well, we also have the static method calculate cost. Okay. Now, to use static member, if you need only a specific name, of is followed by the dot operator, no object needed to be created. We can see how this is done in crop view classes and the calc-len cost and the cell-len view. Okay, you need just use the dot. Now it just look like a code in the crop data that use non-static variables. That is no use the keyword staticus. All right. Now it's a look at is the use array list, and enum. The question is when to use array list, and enum. To choose one option, we need to consider the length of the list and the type of the data in the list. For example, arrays are used when we have a fixed length list that may contain either primitive values like byte, short, and so on, or their object created from classes. All of the elements in an array must be of the same data type. Use an array when the length of the list is fixed and all the data are the same, and we may want to dynamically change some of the items in the list. For example, consider the method public map. Okay? The map classes is a good example of this. The map classes is a good example of this because it's a create an array for the location object. As you can see here, the array is a fixed length and the row and the column are the same data types. In this case, are integers. When I use array list, I use array list when I need add or exclude element in the list. But the element in the list with different data type. Different data type. For example, in the create provision in game control classes, we have a list with current like medicine, compass, and team, and different and 20. And now, when I use enums, I use enums when I fix a list length. The list item is constant and the element with the same data type. Sorry for the errors in enums that I put in the slide array. That is okay. For example, of enums. The member classes is in the model layer. This is method call in the list view to the list the game authors. The game authors are a fixed length list that doesn't change, and they are called the same. They are all the same data type. We can see that we have karate data, taste data, name, and other titles. Now, we're talking about the for loop. A for loop is saying the view the map method in array location, right? To the list is used so that each position in the symbol could be printed to the console for using the game. In this code, the third statement, system out to println, showing information about the village name, the title of the list of the map. We only need that the print owns type. So for this statement, use start to run. The loop for have three elements, or basically three elements: initialization, condition, and update initialization. The initialization step is executed first. And only this step always we to declare and initializing and the loop control variable. And this step end with the same column. In this code, the entire C is equals every statement. The next, the Boolean expression is evaluated. If it is through the body, the loop is executed. But if it falls, the body loop will not be executed to the next statement, pass through the loop in this code. But when C is less than the map get control count, which means to the continue loop to this statement as long as C is less than the length of the map get control code. Lastly, after the body of the loop get executed the control jumps back and update the statement. The statement allows we to update any loop control variable. This statement can be left blank with the semicolon in the end. But in this code, we use C++ to increment C variable and continue the loop. The Boolean expression is now evaluated again if the true the loop executes and the process repeats. We know that the body of the loop updates the step, but if the Boolean expression is false, the for loop is terminated. Now, we're talking about the true and the catch errors. If no method is used to throws and catch errors, the program may just abort. This is frustrating in the user. When the program terminates suddenly, so you should always use the catch and the handle runtime clause in your program. Look at what this looks like in this code of the method. The top of Kelly hierarchy is responsible for catching and handling the error, and the most watch for the specific session object being true, and then take an appropriate step to handling the error in a graceful way that typically this involves print a meaningful message to the console and the redirect control of the program so that the program can gracefully recover from the errors. The method is the bottom of the Kelly hierarchy that detects the runtime error is responsible for creating a new Java exception object instances, and the true or propagating the exceptions. The exception object represents the error that occur and may contain a specific error message. In our case, this say there was an error saved in the provision list to the file. Now, we're talking about character stream versus byte streams. Well, a stream is a sequence of the data. An input to read the data from the sources and output stream write the data to the destination. On the other hand, the character streams are a human readable format. Byte streams process data by byte, which is 8 bits, for example. File input streams are used to read from sources, and the file output streams are used to write to a destination. Not names of the typically and with the read slot or writes and the name. Bytes and with input streams or output streams, the same method and used to write to console can be also be used to write to a disk files. Note, character streams are defined by using two classes hierarchy, topped by these two abstract classes read and write with a kind of method read used for input writes, used for output writes, concrete classes derived from the reads and the writes, or operate on Unicode character streams. In this code, we can see that is the streams and with the word write, so that we know this is a character strings. All right. Now we take example of the byte streams. Sometime I emphasize about the code is that the method to save the game and retrieve a save game use the byte input and output streams. And I search the code for the character input and output streams and needs to show only the list view output data to characters. You can see in this code that use input stream in this code. All right. So I want to talk about the byte stream first. In the game control in our save game method, we use a byte stream, as we can see before, to write the data to an external file, which is the create with a saved path variable. The user has to enter the exact file path on their computer in order to save the file to correct location. This can be saved as either .txt or .dat extension file. We did both ways in our team, and they both work. And then you have the getSaveGame method call, the file path that the user enter, and the game can resume play. How can you see it's done by the look at our game? Now we're going to the NetBeans tool.